November 15th, 2021, a very important day in the history of the Alexis Railroad. For one thing, our new neighbors across the road dropped off their brand new, shiny blue Porta-John. And the other thing was this crate right here. I had finally drilled enough holes in it to fit axles through it and make a rail cart out of it. Now, I had built one rail cart out of a crate before, but it had a few flaws. For one thing, I had cut it shorter so that it would fit my Thomas the Tank Engine tent. But the main flaw it had was it did not really have an actual axle connecting two wheels at a time. It instead had 4 bolts, which, while cheaper than the 1-inch bar stock that I was using as an axle, in this case, it was rather flimsy and would derail very frequently and easily. So, with this cart, I used this 1-inch by 36-inch piece of bar stock, cold rolled steel. One of the sets of holes for the axles I drilled perfectly in line, but the other one I had to do some percussive maintenance to get it to fit in. If all else fails, kick it! I put 2 washers on each side of each axle to space the wheels out from the frame. Now, these wheels that I bought are 8-inch wheels from the website Shop Service Caster. Now, these wheels are slightly different from the ones that I had put on my Thomas cart and the previous wheels that I still have in storage. These wheels are 8 inches, they're red, they got roller bearings, they got a grease fitting, but they are $25 more. Not because they're any better, just because they've gone up $25 a wheel just within the last month. Oh, it hurts. And now we shall witness the first roll of the first 2-foot gauge rail cart at the Alexis Railroad that has actual axles. Oh, that's so pretty. Makes me feel like a professional, says the guy who dropped a handcar out of a tree and then crashed a handcar into a tree. And now inspection of the little rail cart. Now, it should be noted that there is nothing holding the wheels onto the axles except for the rails. If this was just a vehicle rolling across concrete, the wheels might drift off of the axles. And so an inspection was made to see how much space was between the frame and the wheels when everything was pushed to one side and the wheels were pushed against the rail on the other side. There was about room for 2 or 3 more washers. And this is a good thing. It's good to have a little bit of flexibility when dealing with little garbage railroading stuff like this. Let's line the switch and let's go right. It was time for the first run. The switch was lined. I set my nice camcorder up on top of a tree stump to record the first run. Mainly because trees and tree stumps are like magnets around the Alexis Railroad. They either repel railroad equipment, as in the case of the handcar falling out of a tree, or they attract railroad equipment, as in the case of the handcar hitting the remains of a tree. But trees seem to be a reoccurring theme in this railroad. So, after saying a few things to my handheld camera, my fellow rail fans, this is the first trip on this 2-foot gauge cart of mine. Now, this one is different than the one that I do my Thomas videos with. This one has a wheelbase of 3 feet 6 inches. The wheelbase of my handcar is 3 feet 3 inches. Actually, no, it's not that. It's 33 inches. I think the path is clear. The switch is lined. Ready to head, see, that's south, that's north, so that's east. So, ready to head east. Ready, set, and roll. Oh, going to, because this is science. Also, I do admit that I feel a lot safer on this than my little Thomas cart, mainly because I have some form of brake right here. That is just smooth. That is a smooth rolling vehicle. And also, I have reverse now. Look at this. Oh, I'm slipping a little bit. You see, the issue with that Thomas cart is it doesn't actually have an axle. It has kind of these little bolts like a wagon. So, the wheels aren't that steady. Oh, wheel slip. Look at that. Scratching the rail. I think I'm better off just pushing with my feet.
Now I know what you're probably thinking. Get off the cart and push it, you loon. Well, fortunately, he can hear you.
Let's kick the car.
Now what followed after kicking my car back up the hill was a few attempted test runs over my switch, or point as they are called in metric. Now, one of the things that many of my doubters had said many years ago about tubular rail is that you can't make curves in train track out of pipe, because pipe is round. And when a rail wheel, is attempting to go around a curve on a rounded off piece of train track, it shall attempt to climb over the rail and continue going straight instead of going around the curve. And that's why most rail that you look at in real life is fairly square, just a little bit rounded off. The curve on my switch is just the slightest bit too sharp for my little rail cart to go through it without derailing. So I'm thinking that eventually I'm going to replace the curved parts of this switch with square pipe, just to keep things on track. And so that's about it for this video. There was more that went on this day, of course, but that's enough for one video. So here is one more test run going down the hill on my rail cart. The sunset, the autumn leaves, and the blue Porta-John hiding in the background.